You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to rpurham.com or follow me on all social media platforms and subscribe at RPURHAM. Thanks. See you over there. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham and Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham, and welcome back to you and to me. Been out of here for the last couple of weeks and, transitioning, I put it like that. Moving, elections, it's been a roller coaster. So I had to sacrifice something, and it was you. Hey, welcome back, and I hope you all are doing well. I hope everything is settling down in your life and that you had a phenomenal last 2 weeks, and welcome to spring break for you school kids that are in that are on school break at this time. I didn't even know it was spring break until yesterday when I was talking with a friend, and they told me, he was like, hey, traffic should be a little lighter because since it's spring break, and I was like, that's just going to be worse, but okay. But hey, we got a special guest with us today, and I'm excited to talk to him. For those that was around a few months ago, y'all seen him and heard from him. His name is Bruce Torres. He is the Director of Communications for the American Small Business League, the strongest voice in America for the country's small businesses. He is the former marketing director for Train Day Publishing, which published his book, God, School, 9/11, and JFK, The Lies That Are Killing Us and the Truth That Sets Us Free. At TNT Radio, Bruce interviewed 170 guests, including Lloyd Chapman of the ASBL, Dr. Naomi Wolf, Dr. Merrill Nass, Dr. Peter McCullough, Mary Holland of Children's Health Defense, Dick Russell, author of The Real Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and David R. Meiswinkle of the National American Renaissance Movement. On his other podcast, he has interviewed another 50 guests, and as an actor, Bruce has led roles in comedies, drama, musicals, coast to coast. The funniest and the most vocally gifted member of the show, said the New York Times. As an entrepreneur, he hosted hundreds of business networking meetings as he developed his marketing, sales, and public speaking skills. Now, about the American Small Business League. The American Small Business League is the strongest voice in America, protecting the federal programs that assist the nation's 34.7 million small businesses, winning over 100 freedom of information legal battles, and has exposed the rampant fraud in federal small business programs. In the national media and in federal courts, the ASBL has had a larger presence than all other organizations that claim to represent the interests of small businesses combined. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing some and presenting the others, Mr. Bruce Torres. Welcome back, sir. How you doing?
I'm great, Randy. Great to be with you this morning.
Absolutely. Tell us what you been up to the last few months. What's been going on over in your neck of the woods?
My biggest focus and satisfaction these days are the conversations that our office is having with Congress people and senators, their staff, and imploring them to look at our rationale for some new legislation to expand and better oversee the federal contract dollars, Randy, that must go to small businesses. There's huge problems with that. It's a huge opportunity, and very gratified with that.
Thank you for that update, and I actually appreciate that very much because there has been, I guess you could say, some bump in the waves there about federal contracting dollars going to more of the larger firms than to the small business owners that can do the same work, if not better work. It's more of a preferential treatment because, oh, well, we can get some kind of investment opportunity or ROI through the stock market if we go through this bigger company that may be on the NASDAQ or whatever. And I wanted to ask you, how is navigating those waters looking for the ASBL in terms of getting the federal government to say, okay, we'll forego the larger companies and support the smaller businesses?
We're very encouraged because the truth reaches people, and especially these young people in the offices. It's a cold call letter, right? So I look at it from a sales and marketing point of view. Let's say you work for a senator, and you get, dear Senator so and so's office. This is the kind of new legislation we'd like, and here's why. And to say in a couple of paragraphs something that gets you to say, Bruce, I'll talk about this. When can we do a call? That's very gratifying. Leveraging the fact it's a midterm election year. Okay. Also, we've got a database of about 2,000 candidates for the midterms, and educating them, saying, "Look at this and run on this." It's nonpartisan. This is bread and butter. This is in our wallets, and it's a problem that really needs to be rectified for these obvious benefits. Boom, 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 boom. So and yet we know how cumbersome every process in Washington is. We don't have false hopes of waving a magic wand and having anything done quickly. Right. Maybe not even this year. Frankly, probably not, just because of how big those wheels are and how slow they turn, and all the really rich influences and forces that control, impact, etc., come to bear on such a thing as getting a bill actually passed through both houses, reconciled, blah, 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 and then being signed into law. We've got no illusions about it. But like I said, the truth is on our side, and we hope it cuts like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I actually seen your white paper that you just mentioned that you give the candidates and say, hey, this is a very easy issue to run on, something to take up the mantle, and just bring awareness, if nothing else. The long shot for some candidates winning a race is 50-50. I like to say, although they may have no chance of winning, but it's always 50-50 when there's two candidates, because you never know what happens to the other side. I speak from experience there. But to that point though, a candidate that does have access to this information in which you send out, it is a very easy topic to discuss, to bring to the forefront and say, hey, these are some issues that you're facing as a small business owner, and if I can get your support, I can help champion these issues on the campaign trail and bring even more awareness to what's going on, from the government perspective versus to the small businesses. And I've seen firsthand, with this white paper, that it does work. The small business owners actually appreciate the fact that you're paying attention to their kitchen table issue. It may not be the everyday family kitchen table issue, but it's their kitchen table issue, because they're sitting down, going through the book, saying, how can I bring in more business? How can I bring in contracting business? How can I, as a woman, and we're going to talk about that, as a woman, how can I center myself onto the stage of being taken seriously in the business world as a small business owner? And so I commend you guys for doing that work. But Bruce, I want to, yes, you're welcome. I want to get your thoughts on the current, I guess you say, elephant in the room, and it's the Iran war right now, and how it's impacting the small business sector, particularly the economy. With the gas price shot up almost $2 in some areas. from the $2, the mid $2 range to now it's almost $4 in some places. I want to get your thoughts on what's going on there as relation to the small business sector.
It's tragic and heartbreaking. I've looked at so much history, Randy, to be persuaded that we've been in the hands for decades, maybe forever, of the giant money interests always in all countries. And the war is going to make money for the giant industries and banking institutions that back our government and the other governments involved with this evil war of money-making, profit-seeking aggression. Because when people really want to make peace, they can come to the table and work things out. Okay, that's just what humans can do. It's one of our skills, just like brushing our teeth and combing our hair. It's just, we can do it, okay? So the question is, how long will this last? The question is, how big a disruption do they, in quotes, want? Or how much money do they want? Or how much do they want to reset our countries and our civilizations? Because it could be as big as this. World War I was such a intended, engineered, horrific, gigantic, money-making, people slaughtering exercise intentionally done. The Great Depression was also intentionally done to wipe out wealth and livelihoods to make money. World War II was the same. You could call these false flags, as well as, I'm going to go deep here, Randy, and it's just what I think I know, and I can take all comers and I can hear all sides. 9/11, false flags, self-inflicted. Muslims had nothing to do with it. The war on terror. It's one of these money-making, giant money-making projects, but also to socially and geopolitically re-engineer things to serve the powers that can impose that kind of thing. So was the recent pandemic, and the worst thing I've ever seen in modern human times. Are we going to be on platforms where we can say free speech without risk of being banned, blocked, or deplatformed, or anything?
No.
Can I speak freely? No?
Yes, you can. You can, yes.
Oh, okay, good. Because
I get banned and blocked all the time, but I still. But go for it.
Oh, all right. Well, I respect that, and I'll accept that invitation. Even COVID-19, especially the vaccines, are a biological crime against humanity that have crippled and disabled and killed. And this new thing, it's not just to distract us from Epstein, but it demonstrates how awful, evil, and corrupt our institutions are. And the bottom line is, you can bet that corrupt things will crumble and fall. It's just, will it be in our lifetime? And how many innocent lives will get sucked down the whirling, swirling chaos of what they're doing right now? So it might be short term, or it might be a giant thing like World War II or the Great Depression, or what was inflicted on us with COVID. We hope and pray for the best.
Yes. I 1,000% agree with you on all of that, because you're spot on. And I talked about this to ad nauseum over the years, especially during COVID. Oh my God, that right there was just an atrocity to not only earth but to heaven and hell combined. It was just like something you never seen before. It was just when you sit back and you just peel back the onion on everything that went on during that time, and the draconian measures that was put in place, and they just sat back and said, let's see if people will comply to this. And people complied to it. It was just like, you're dumb. But you're absolutely right. It's so crazy to me that it is a money-making machine globally. And they sit in these smoky rooms on these golf courses, even in a grocery store aisle, and they concoct these things, and they say, hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 3 p.m.? Nothing. Okay, great. Hey, don't be in your office because we're going to bomb it, okay? And then, from there, you're going to make some money, and, some people going to be sympathizing towards you and everything else. And then you turn around and you attack us, and then we go back and forth for a few weeks. And we're going to get some companies involved, and they're going to make a whole bunch of money, and they're going to give us some of the profit sharing. And there you go. Yeah, and it's just like, wow. It's just that simple, huh? Just don't care about the lives involved. Don't care about the consequences of these actions, the second and third order effects, if you will. None of that matters, and it's very interesting. And being in DC, I love going to Washington DC, but I hate it at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship I have with Washington DC. For those that understand what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, especially when you're going over to the Senate Hart buildings and where the congressional offices are. You see the vitriol that just fomates throughout that building, and they sit around and they just like, well, you're nothing to us, so we don't even know why you're here, so leave. And it's like, I own this. Like, I pay taxes, I pay your salary. Like, what are you talking about? Some get out security? And it's like, really? Wow. This is crazy. Wow. And people accept this. The people, the American people, the everyday citizens, we accept these things and say, well, they're elected officials, we can't do anything to them. And it's like, we have this thing called elections. We have recalled elections. We have so many tools at our disposal to end this corruption and to end, the bad politicians that are in office that have no interest in taking care of their constituency. So to that, I'm calm down. You put me on. You put me. you almost made me put my sermon hat on there. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right there, Bruce. And I thank you for bringing that point up. And because the small businesses in America have suffered greatly over the last, I would say, at best, being that I'm only in my 40s, I would say at best, for the last 40 years. And I've seen it growing up. They're pushed off, they're brushed off, and they're part of this system of either you can survive through the community, through community support, or you go away. I've yet to ever see a small business be qualify for a bailout from the government. I don't know if that's a thing, but you got big businesses like auto industries and banks and everything else. They qualify to get money from the government to stay in business. And it's like, well, what about that mom and pop shop, that's been around for 30 years, and because of inflation that you caused, how come you can't give them a bailout check and help them stay in business? We don't do that. Well, why not? Bruce, can you talk to us about that craziness?
Yeah, it's part of the fact that for all intents and purposes, the federal government is captured by giant corporate and banking interests. You could say it's an arm of corporate and banking interests. So there's lip service, and there's tiny little actions done that they can brag and say, this is for Main Street, this is for small businesses. But it's just dust compared to the monster is how laws, rules, regs, rulings favor, support, encourage, and help the giant corporate and banking interests. The musician Frank Zappa in the 1980s said, politics is the entertainment division of the military-industrial complex. So anything they announce that sounds like they're doing anything for small businesses, it's crumbs, okay? And as horrifying as our realities are, the great hope is educating ourselves and educating each other. It's never been more. Maybe it's perpetual. human nature has always needed to self-govern, and that was the great ray of light that the American founding was, the concept of self-government, the project of creating a brand new government on this giant continent with a preponderance of literate people, the white free people of the colonies that became the states, had something like a 90 or 95% literacy rate. So they really, and the best scholars became the politicians, and they really input on paper the highest ideals of aspiration for the good of humanity. And it is challenged, like all of civilization always has been, by the brutality of the strongest who just take your lunch money because they can. The law of the jungle is might makes right. I can take your lunch money and shove and lock you in your own locker in school just because I'm bigger than you. And that's what the corporate banking powers are still doing. The American Revolution is the idea that rights make might. Okay? So even though the case can be made, you can't fight City Hall, we're all screwed, this empire is going to collapse just like all the empires in the past. There'll be tons of innocent victims who are destroyed in the process, and what few survivors survive will crawl out of the wreckage and build little huts and hovels and scratch wood together to start learning how to make fire all over again. Life will go on. But in the meantime, I say it like this: we're tied to the tracks and there's a train coming, okay? But most people are facing away from the train. So we who see the train coming, we have to not only chew the ropes, we have to convince people there's a train coming so that there's more of us chewing the ropes. But when people hear the conversation like this and they say like, oh, it's not that bad, oh, you guys are just doomsayers, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I could recommend the books. I could recommend the researchers and their interviews and their webinars and their Zoomcasts, etc., that would persuade you there's a train coming. And now is when you've got the biggest challenge. It's to not kill yourself. It's to not drink yourself to death. It's to not video binge yourself to death. It's because it is that hopeless, and it is that certain that corrupt things collapse. And yet we have to do whatever it takes to generate hope, to encourage each other. I recommend people develop a spiritual imagination. Your spiritual beliefs don't have to be true. They just have to empower you. And, there's many resources I can steer people to along those lines. And it all boils down to love. When we can love life and each other as we would ourselves, or imagine that love each other as we could imagine a loving creator loved us, all things become possible.
That's true. Yeah, and I love it. You're absolutely right about that. And, to that point, we do know there's train coming. Matter of fact, there's a train coming in both directions. So no matter if you try to look away, it's going to be one coming down in the opposite direction too. And it's a matter of not only recognizing it, but instilling mitigating efforts to avoid that train wreck. And although it's inevitable, it may be inevitable. And to your point, you're right. All civilizations rise or fall at some point. Maybe we are on the cusp of falling as United States. Maybe. But we can still prepare ourselves and say, okay, this is not going to last forever. So what do I need to do to ensure that either myself or my posterity will be prepared for whatever's to come? And a lot of us don't think along those lines. We don't care. You have these commercials they talk about, oh, we got these solar power generated generators, and solar this, and oh, you can stock food for the next 30 years, and here, here's these seeds that you can get, and they never expire. All that is great. But at the end of the day, if you have that stuff stocked in your house and your house is blown to smithereens and you can't even get to the stuff, what does it matter? So
right, or if you're the only house in town with all that stuff, how long before all the hungry people want to explore every house and let's see what he has?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, That's Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yes,
So
and in the
we're given the I guess you say the cliff notes to what's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. So I appreciate
in the face but in the face of that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I do. Well, it's just to reflect on how many things in our lives, at least for me, especially when we're young, it's easy to catastrophize scenarios in our minds and just think, oh, this is hopeless, I'm screwed, I don't see a way out of it. You live long enough, you realize, the worst things didn't happen, or even if the worst thing happened, as I went forward with any kind of confidence or good intentions, new opportunity, like life does renew, and I understand. I know that there are lots and lots and lots and lots of young people who are young, and they have what young people have, which is hope and confidence. So it's simply a matter of trying, and when you indulge your spiritual imagination and set out to learn, study, what have people said about all these kind of things in the past, you do come up to the idea, you find the idea of the creative nature of existence, and that's what we have to experiment with and just see, like, what can I create with love? What can I create by taking a stand? What if, like Martin Luther King Jr. and the Kennedys that died in the 60s, and this Nazi resistor named Sophie Scholl in World War II, and Patrick Henry in 1775, give me liberty or give me death, when enough of us will do the right thing, even if we confront forces that kill to win. One of our immense strengths is our numbers. So it is to do and say all we can to inspire hope in each other. At least we have to try. The house is on fire. It looks like the fire is beyond putting out. We're in a situation where we have to keep trying to put the fire out. I'm not telling anyone to be reckless or do anything that's obviously suicidal or futile, but we can't believe it's futile, because there are generations that deserve to be born onto a planet that's worth living on. And it's a psyop to feel helpless and think you can't fight City Hall, I'm just going to get drunk and die. We have to fight that in ourselves and then encourage each other out of that.
Absolutely, and we have that issue here in Austin. I'm in Austin, Texas, and that is one of the issues that we're having, is that City Hall has run amok, and they tried to pass a tax increase on the population here, thinking that, oh, they're stupid, they're not paying attention, they're a bunch of liberals, and they don't know what's going on, and they're just gonna go along to get along. And so they attempted, and we smacked that down. The vote passed. The proposition failed, I should say, 66%, and it was just like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not gonna take on this tax because you said we need to take care of the homeless. And it's like, you've been saying that for the last 5 years, and we still have streets lined up with homeless people, and all these nonprofits that are in existence, they're tied to you guys. So you're just trying to make a money machine off the backs of the taxpayers. You're exposed, Austin City Council. So now it's up to the people to now that they have this information, it's up to the people to say, okay, we finna vote you guys out of office and put in some new people and clean this up. It's up to them. But I guess who's that? Einstein said it. You do the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result. Expecting a different result. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold my breath for May. But I want to get into before we run out of time here. I want to get into tell us about the program that you have over at ASBL with the Don't Cheat Women.
Oh, definitely. Our major thing for decades has been exposing the small business contracts that get awarded to big businesses, and the federal agencies tell the SBA, who oversees and monitors all this, these are the businesses we gave small business contracts to And because of loopholes and definitions and different regulations, lacks oversight and even fraud, the SBA says, okay, great, thank you. Those are small business contract awards. They went to big businesses, billions of dollars. And those companies are already big, Randy. They don't create new jobs. Whereas if legitimate small businesses every year got the 23% of all federal contract dollars that are supposed to go to small businesses, they would create about 2 million new jobs on top of the million or so jobs America creates every year. It would be a gigantic economic boom. So that's the first thing, is we're in the business of exposing the fact that small business contracts are going to big businesses, and it's costing us jobs and prosperity. For the last year and a half, we've been promoting our Don't Cheat Women project, don'tcheatwomen.com. We want raised from 5% to 15% the federal contract dollars that must go to women-owned small businesses. And here's why. Women are half the population. Often people correct me. No, they're more than half the population, okay? But Randy, women own 40% of all businesses in the United States. Mm-hmm. They sell what the government buys. The government buys everything. The United States federal government is the world's largest purchaser of goods and services on the planet. It buys everything under the sun. Yeah. Women own 40% of businesses. They sell what the government buys, and the law says that only, doesn't cap it, but it says at least 5% of federal contract. So companies owned by men are getting over 95% of all federal contract dollars.
That's crazy.
Right there, that's a screaming injustice. We think it's actually unconstitutional. It's a violation of civil rights law. But just like small businesses don't really get the 23% of contracts dollars that the government says they get every year, the government says we've only met the 5% women goal twice in the last 30 years. But as we've looked at it and others looked at it, women-owned small businesses are really probably getting less than 1% of federal contract dollars. Wow. Now, here's the context. We are a small business nation. 99.9% of all businesses in America are small businesses with less than 500 employees, which is the government's definition. We think that definition's too big because 98% of all businesses have less than 100 employees. That ought to be the real definition of a small business. So that means the 0.1% of businesses that are big businesses are getting around 96% of all federal contract dollars. And practically none are really going to legitimate small businesses. I should have put in there. It's a lot of math. It's too early in the morning for all this math, Randy. But let me say this. Let me say this. We have found that in reality, real small businesses are probably getting around 3 or 4% of those contract dollars, and women-owned small businesses are getting nothing. I assure everyone at don'tcheatwomen.com, all this is spelled out nice and simply, crystal clear, right up front. And there's a letter everyone can swipe to their congressmen and their senators and say, hey, we understand that this is so, and here's what we want. Because and these are my final part about this answer, when it goes from 5 to 15%, that should go to women-owned small businesses. That'll push from 23% to 33% the contract dollars that ought to go to small businesses, which would create 3 million new jobs on top of the million or so America typically creates. We need to hear about another scandal like a hole in the head. This is a huge scandal that's worth knowing about because it could unite us. This is not Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative. It's just Main Street. One last point. This is very important.
Sure. Yeah, please.
If you're a small business and you think, I don't care about this, I'm never going to apply for a government contract. I own a beauty salon. I fix garage doors. Wait a minute. When the small businesses in your community get those contracts, hire all those new people, they need haircuts, they need their garage doors fixed, their kids need ballet lessons. This impacts everybody. Everybody.
Right. Exactly. And to your point, the jobs market, the jobs market, the jobs report came out last week, and it said that that we lost 940,000 jobs. I was like, whoa, like 940,000 lost, like. And the immediate media buzz around that was, Trump's economy with the tariffs and AI is the cause of all of this. I kind of like, as soon as I saw that in the media, I hate legacy media. I just can't stand them because they lie just for no reason. It's just like, why'd you have to frame that as that's not even the truth. But to your point about the federal contracting dollars, the allocation, that 40,000 jobs lost would have been a drop in the bucket had the government been doing the right thing this entire time of its existence when it comes to contracting out these contracts to small businesses. And this, your point that you just made, only highlights that even more. That the government needs to look at, okay, we got these small businesses. The jobs that are lost probably came from corporations. And to your other point about the definition of a small business being 500 employees or more or less, ladies and gentlemen, the Fortune 500 index consists of 500 or more employees. So they automatically are categorized as a big business or some kind of industry that is like, registered on the stock market and all that kind of stuff. So this is by design that, the government says, we're not going to say 100 or less, we're going to say 500. So that way we have a vested interest in these companies if they are successful enough. And so there's a Kabbalistic approach to what's going on here, and you succinctly highlighted that for me and for the audience, I think. And I wanted to get your thoughts on the way forward. Aside from the government saying, okay, we'll start giving contracts, we'll start allocating more opportunities to small businesses and to women in small business. But what's another path forward that you guys are working on at ASBL to address these issues?
Thank you. And you might be right about those numbers. I think I saw 92,000 jobs lost. Not almost a million, you might be right, but in 1 month, I don't know if we lost.
It could be. It was a high
I don't know if we lost them. It was a high. 92,000 lost in a month made headlines, okay? A million lost in a month, Randy. I got to double check that.
Me too. I got to double check that.
I don't think it was right.
Yeah.
At the ASBL, we're focused on just this, which is raising awareness of the small business contracts, that the billions of dollars that go to big businesses that ought to go to small businesses, and our Don't Cheat Women initiative. I want to say a couple more benefits of that before I answer your question about what else we might be doing as a way forward. What's at stake is not only the extra jobs when that woman goal gets raised, it's this urgency. Men earn and save more than women. Women are doing better in graduating with higher degrees and even creating new businesses. Women are doing very, very well. But everything that can get them up to being economic equals is necessary because men are richer. Men dominate in politics in America across the board. And here are the many ways, okay? Because men are richer, they donate more to campaigns. So they've got more influence with all the winners. And it's also easier for men to run for and win office. 75% of all seats in the House, the Senate, all state legislatures, every president's cabinet held by men. Almost that many governorships. 90% of party leadership and committee chair positions held by men. And women have different worldviews and values. We need the wisdom of the entire human race in the councils of government. Women won't be political equals and have an equal voice in policies and programs until they are economically able to compete and win public office. So everything that can empower them economically, yes. So we are telling candidates, every woman or intelligent woman, or even one of just average common sense, is going to vote to increase the federal contract dollars that go to women-owned small businesses. And so will every fair-minded, sane, rational man. So we're reaching out to Republicans and Democrats because we don't care who embraces this and does right by us and helps the country prosper and thrive. It's beyond partisanship. So
I agree.
and the bottom line, and to be think, any other way forward is just personally, Randy, it's the ancient advice: know thyself. This is, Uncle Bruce talking as an elder here. Why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
Figure that out.
Yep. Know your why.
No, yeah, and even if it's, I had a bad childhood and my mother did this and my father did this, and that's valid because we were all neglected. 90% of us go through public school, and that's the destruction of happiness. That's the destruction of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the bottom line. It's the destruction of being able to make decisions. By making decisions, trial and error, we learn to trust our judgment. So now we can function as adults.
Absolutely.
Decades and generations now, Randy, we've got powerless Americans who reach 18 and 22 years old who didn't make enough decisions because we were trapped in an effing prison during our, am I screaming, formative years.
Mm-hmm.
So kids get to college and they break down and need puppies and blankets like 5-year-olds because they're afraid of one thing, Randy.
Yeah.
Making a decision. Trusting their own judgment. So when we admit that and recognize that, now we can ask the question, what do I want? I want to be happy.
Yeah.
And now you're invited to consider help others be happy is the most powerful and immediate way for you to create your own happiness. Now all this is called what? Self-government. Now you know what to ask a representative. This is what I'd like you to do. You won't do it? I'm going to run for office. And I'm confident that so many people will say, hey, I want those things too. Randy, I'm voting for you. Bruce, I'll vote for you. I'll do those things for we have to know what we want. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Clean food, clean air. No wars. We want everyone to prosper and thrive. And you're going to come up against the bullies. You're going to come up against the a-holes, who've got, the money and the power, and that's just life. It's either it's that courageous life pushing forward into this, or it's just retreating into the turtle shell of your little apartment with your little video games and your beer and your drugs and your depression and your suicide. What's the choice? These are the choices.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And I used to always say to my soldiers, you're not a product. You are a product of your decisions, not your circumstances. And they always look at me and they say, well, you have to be in a position to make a decision. I say, you're in a position to make a decision. You're in a position to make a decision every day. When you wake up, that was a decision to get out that bed. So and what you do with the rest of the day forward is your decision. And so I tell people, miss me with the excuses, miss me with the drama in your life. You still had decisions. You still could have, you make decisions all the time. And you're absolutely right. And ladies and gentlemen, to that also, I am going to make a correction. You're all right, Bruce. It is 92,000 jobs in February that was lost, and it brought the unemployment rate up to 4.4%. And so, the sharp that is it's still a significant loss. One with the other. Yeah. And so, but yes, I want to clarify that. And tell us, where can people follow you and support you, sir? And thank you for the awesome conversation. I loved it. So this is
likewise.
This is definitely much needed today, and this to kick off the week for everybody as well. So, but please tell us where they can follow you and support you, sir.
Thank you so much. ASBL.com is our main site, American Small Business League. You'll see our history and the facts and figures about the diversion of billions of dollars in small business contracts going to big business, and the federal government says, oh, they went to small businesses. Don'tCheatWomen.com, that whole initiative. And also on YouTube, we've got 2 channels. American Small Business League, where you'll see conversations like this, our media appearances where we dig into these kind of things. And our channel, American Small Business League Podcast, where we interview candidates for Congress and learn where they're coming from. And you'll be blown away by the idealism. There is so much hope and optimism by really good people who would love to replace, the professional stooges, pawns, and puppets that occupy too many seats in the Congress. So there, 2 YouTube channels and our 2 websites. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, no problem. Thank you again, and be safe out there, Bruce, and keep doing what you're doing. Truly appreciate you and all the hard work that you guys are doing over there at ASBL. It is much needed, and I hope y'all are successful in the return to the legislature and getting some bills passed and getting some small businesses awarded the contracts and the monies that they deserve. So thank you once again, and be safe out there. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. Okay. Bruce, that was Bruce Torres with the communications director for the American Small Business League. And folks, I'm telling you, share this with your friends, especially those who own businesses, so they can be aware as to what's going on. And I'm gonna drop the link once again to their websites on here at the bottom. Don'tCheatWomen.com is right below my chin here. Don'tCheatWomen.com, and also their main website, ASBL.com. Go there and check out the resources there available for both sides of the house there, and share it around. This is important stuff. We as entrepreneurs, business owners, small business owners, I'm not talking about the corporations and the big entities. I'm talking about the small business owners and the entrepreneurs out there. You have so much access, or I should say so many resources at your fingertips. You just got to know where to find it, where to get it, and how to implement it into your business and into your life. And these kind of things here, once more and more people are aware of these things, government has no choice but to say, okay, all right, there's too many people that know about this now. we gotta pay attention and start helping them and start giving them this stuff so they can pipe down and shut up and go away. So and that's how that works. Is you redress the government of your grievances, and grievances of this nature is something that needs to be redressed. And so with that, folks, I'm gonna jump up out of here. I got some other stuff to go take care of quite expeditiously. And but hey, don't forget, book is out. It's coming out next month. This is my copies. But the book is coming out, Polarizing America. You can go ahead and pre-order it wherever you get your books, and check that out. Support the program. Support this program as well. And I will catch you all later, God willing. God bless. Be safe out there, and I will catch you all soon. Ciao, ciao. I hope you enjoyed today's program. You can follow, like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Substack, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and your news. And also, you can download Let the Truth Be Told app on your favorite streaming platforms, such as Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Roku. Take care. God bless.